You good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Yeah, so, dude, I hear you have some thoughts about the whole Cowboy Bebop thing. I've kind of just been waiting for this moment to hear
I
what you
mean,
have to say.
my thoughts on Cowboy Bebop aren't good. Like,
Right.
I don't get what Hollywood is trying to accomplish because literally no one is asking for this. Like, no one has been like, hey, you know what would be good, especially after seeing what you did to Ghost in the Shell? A Cowboy Bebop live action movie or series or whatever the fuck.
It's a TV series. That's what it says right here on Deadline and stuff like that.
It's just the thing about it is like the anime is just so like perfect and complete, and you get it in a nice little package. It's like 26 episodes or something plus one movie. It's great, and even like the dub version's great too. Like that's one of the animes everyone always like goes back to and says like, oh, well, not all dubs are bad. Look at Cowboy Bebop.
Right. Like, yeah, that's actually kind of like the version I prefer when I'm watching like Cowboy Bebop
Right.
or anything like that. It's like I kind of want to like hear the English dub because I don't know. It's just like
It's just the one you know.
right. It just for me it kind of just adds that like flavor of noir. Like
Yeah, but the guy who voices Spike is just like the perfect voice for that. You know?
exactly. So, but I don't know. Like I feel like we're in a time with Hollywood. They're just keep on recycling great old ideas. I mean,
Yeah, but
it's not only this. It's we heard about like they're trying to reboot. It's like I mean, talking about a tongue twister. I mean, but they're trying to do that as well, and you can't even imagine how they're going to do that. I mean, can they even like iterate because it just seemed so perfect back then as well. So
I mean, as far as reboot is concerned, like when that show came out, that came out in like when computers technology was really just starting to take off, and like
and that was part of like the charm of it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the story itself. I mean, some people it had some like problems and whatnot, but that on top of like seeing stuff you never seen before, especially during that time, it was amazing. And so, and Cowboy Bebop was the same way. Like Cowboy Bebop was released around the same time, and it was just doing stuff that no other anime was doing at the time. Like it was just having this great sci-fi element and this fantastic noir story with it. And
the best thing about it is like as fantastical as it is, it's very grounded.
mm-hmm.
Like it's like just some bounty hunters in space. Like there's
Absolutely,
nothing
yeah.
like too over the top about it. It's just like this is what it would probably be like if it was the future.
Right. They
of
went to
Mars.
they went to different planets like Mars and want to save like Venus and other stuff like that. And like they kind of made it grounding. Like either they're kind of like going to this big like industrial like space stations and stuff like that, and it's just like you see it's like it's meant for like mining and stuff like that. And then they kind of take it to places where it's on Mars and it's just more of a shanty town and it's just it's more personal and I don't know how they can recreate that in a live action
I just
setting.
I don't understand like what's it gonna add.
Nothing at all really. I
Like,
mean,
it can only be worse. It can't be like better. Like
there's no way up but down at this point when it comes to. I mean, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, and maybe they can actually do right by it. I mean, we're seeing so many live adaptations already of like acclaim anime series and stuff like that. With we got Death Note, and then like you said, like you brought up Ghost in the Shell, and those things are not doing so hot right now. I mean, Death Note it's not out, so I don't know how it's gonna like really do with the masses. But
I think Cowboy Bebop has an advantage by not being necessarily like everyone is Japanese or whatever.
right.
It's kind of like open to interpretation in a way.
Totally.
which with I mean Ghost in the Shell was like one of the biggest problems why people hated it, is because they kind of really did some shady things,
Right.
and then like tried to like cover up the tracks by being like, oh no, like
It's an international
she
thing.
was
Don't worry about it.
originally Japanese,
Yeah.
and then
Oh
we
my
put her in a
god.
white person's body.
That was the most bullshit moment
Like, I mean,
in
they
that
should have just
movie.
left it at how it was. Like, that would have been better than just trying to like put a weird band like
Exactly. If
that
you're
on
gonna
it.
like stand by your vision, might as well go all the way with it. Yeah, like, totally. That's the thing that was disappointing when I saw that, and it was like, wow, you guys couldn't even stick with your guns on that point.
Yeah.
It's
Spoiler alert, by the way.
yeah. Spoiler about that. Yeah, sorry about that.
If you haven't seen it at this point, it's your own fault.
Right. Well, don't worry. I'll just I'm sure I'll tag it in the timeline, whatever, to people to like, oh, we're talking a little bit of spoilers of Ghost in the Shell, so skip this part, blah blah blah. So, but you don't really need to.
I
see
mean,
Ghost in the Shell.
some people liked Ghost in the Shell, and
Right.
but
But-
it's okay to be wrong.
Yeah. And those people, I argue, their biggest defense is, oh, they made the visuals so great. If you're gonna talk about stuff on a visual level, then we could talk about saying like, oh, the Matrix sequels were good movies and shit like that. But in reality, they weren't movies. They weren't.
For like with the Matrix was good because once again they still kind of kept it a little bit grounded. Like,
Right.
Yes, it was like computer future weirdness,
But they didn't.
But like it was, most of the scenes were done by real people.
Right.
And then like in the second Matrix, it was like weird scenes of like, they're like, oh hey, we have cool computer technology now. Let's use it for everything. Same
Yeah.
thing with the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah, the over CGI, like even hell, you even still see it now in these days, like Batman vs Superman. Fuck, that thing was CGI to death near the final act, and yeah,
It becomes a point like in the Matrix, there's a scene where it's just like a bunch of Smiths, and there's like hundreds of them coming out. Like it just didn't.
That does not look good now.
It never looked good. That's the thing. It was just it was cutting edge. Sure, that was the best that they could do, and they thought it was passable. But like especially seeing what they have now.
Right. Well, I would say during that time, I would kind of like that scene with all the Smiths. I would kind of like put it on the same level of the Fast and Furious whenever they kind of like go into the engine and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That cheesiness, it was fine back then because advancement technology wasn't that crazy. I mean, that was still in the time of Spider-Man was still really coming out. Like the superhero bubble was just rising, so to speak, at that point. So it's even more of a problem now when you see that bad of CGI usage. So, like I mentioned, it's in the DC stuff, it could really be bad and be really noticeable.
Yeah.
Fortunately, from what I'm hearing, Wonder Woman isn't that same thing. So, but that's DC, and this is a totally different subject. Cowboy Bebop is something more of a bigger undertaking. I don't know how a TV series is really gonna get.
My biggest worry is that they're gonna like try to go too American with it and be like, oh, it's cowboys and robbers
Try to be
in
like
space,
Firefly or some shit like that.
Well, not even that. Just maybe make it into some kind of action thing, or
right.
And it's it's not about that really.
Right.
It's about like the characters, and there's not like ultimately there is cool action going on, but it's not.
There are good fight scenes, which I don't have any hope that they will ever match up the same caliber.
Are they gonna include the Jeet Kune Do?
No.
Like
no, probably not. It's probably going to be more focused on gunfights and
regular ass martial arts.
I don't even think they're gonna be really too big into the starship battles and stuff like that. It's those are huge scenes and very like very memorable scenes for me anyway. Especially one of my favorite episodes of Cowboy Bebop is the trucking episode. and that stuff was really cool. Seeing all the space trucking and doing all the drifting on that. I don't think we're ever gonna see that type of cool stuff in the live action series. I think they're gonna really pick and choose what they want
Yeah.
and be like, oh, it's just more of an homage and whatnot. Like,
Yeah, because that's what they're doing now. Because with Death Note, which they've already made like a Japanese Death Note,
right.
which okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're kind of saying, oh, this is our interpretation of Death Note if it was done in America,
Right.
which is better than trying to stick some sort of weird whitewashing band-aid on it.
Right.
But it's still kind of like it's a weird space,
Right. It's who are you for, really? You're not really going after the true fans of the series or anything like that. It's
just the thing is, I don't know if we're not asking for these movies because of how controversial it is, or if nobody's interested in it because there hasn't been a good one yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like something they tried in the 80s, like when they did Guyver.
Oh man, yeah. Well, Guyver was awesome though.
Yeah.
On a B level type of thing.
Well, Guyver 2 Dark Hero with David Hayter as the main character.
I mean, I don't recall if I've seen the first one as
The
often
first
as
one-
I've seen the second one, but
The first one has Mark Hamill in it.
oh yeah,
And
yeah.
he plays like the government guy.
Yeah,
or whatever.
the evil, I don't know, something like that. But
And
was
they
he?
make some weird Star
Wait,
Wars
was he evil
references.
in that one, or
I think he wasn't.
God?
I don't think he was a bad guy.
We should probably see Guyver 1 again. I mean,
I've got Guyver 2 on DVD, but I've never actually seen Guyver 1.
I think we should see Guyver 1.
But I mean
I think that'll be a great educational
that
moment.
anime was like obscure enough,
Right.
and sort of also not.
Most of the stuff from Japan was pulled from obscure things that they kind of just repackaged in different ways. VR Troopers, Power Rangers. To pull off some major examples, and then you got the 90s boom, as I like to call it, when you have like, what is it? The guy had like a beetle suit and a motorcycle.
Oh, Kamen Rider.
Thank you. That was shown a couple times on Fox.
Well, they did a weird like crossover episode with Power Rangers,
Right.
and
right.
it was completely not even what Kamen Rider is
I thought-
about. Like they went to some other weird planet or something, and these weird like monk people came out and they're like, "Oh, I'm the masked rider," and it was like, okay,
What's going on over here? Well, to be fair, most of the Power Rangers crossovers never really made sense with both licenses. I remember the Ninja Turtles one, and
the Ninja Turtles one is dope.
that was fun because
That
it's Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers.
that was a fun crossover because the Power Rangers get their asses handed to them by the Ninja Turtles.
right. Right.
It's one of those weird scenarios where you see the good guys lose, but it's also the good guys winning, kind of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the end, that was an awesome scene, but in the end, it just melded down to like any other Power Rangers episode, really.
I wonder if they ever saw that in Japan, and what their opinion would
I
be
wonder
on it.
if the live-action Ninja Turtles show was ever promoted in Japan, really.
Or if any Ninja Turtles is in Japan.
No, there is. I mean, there's the games and comics. I'm sure there's some manga out there, but they're definitely not as a big pop culture icon over here, like as over here in the States and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, Ninja Turtles is iconic. It's been around for so long, and it's New York City. Like, that's what people think about when they think of America.
Right. So maybe because I know they're like I said, their games have been released and stuff like that, and yeah, I don't think they're as popular in Japan, or I wonder if they're even popular in Europe. Are they as big in
I don't know. We're so sheltered by being Americans that we're at the center of our own universe.
Yeah, I mean, look who we have as our president. Really, it's bad luck. It's
Yeah.
bad luck. Anyway, well, back to the real subject at hand, the Cowboy Bebop thing. I mean, it could be the first good
Yeah, but
example of this stuff. I mean,
even if it was good, what does that even mean? Like, who?
non-offensive. Would you take that? Would you take non-offensive? Would you?
I'll take it, but I'm not gonna like it.
I mean, that's better than what M. Night Shyamalan's last Avatar. That was pretty shitty. Do you want another Dragon Ball's Evolution?
Avatar was a weird, shitty anime movie because it's not even really an anime if you get down to the brass tacks.
Right.
It was a Nickelodeon show.
Right. It was made was it made in the States or was it?
Yeah, I don't know where they animate things.
Right.
But it was definitely American made.
Totally. Anyway, yeah, I get your point.
But yeah, that's it. That's just, you can fuck up anything just by not staying true to the source material, and that's one of those things where Avatar only has one iteration, and Cowboy Bebop only has one iteration. And
right.
All these things that they're making terrible anime movies of, they only have one adaptation to them. It's not like the story's been told over and over again.
That's actually a really good point you brought up. That Cowboy Bebop, there's only one iteration. You would think there would be maybe a HD remaster at this point. That's a big popular thing. They're doing that with Dragon Ball Z, and Sailor Moon is also getting another shot in the arm with her new series. So you would think at least maybe like a visual remaster of
I'm glad
Cowboy Bebop would be would be around or would be existent at this point.
Well, that's the thing. That just goes to show you like how perfect and it doesn't need anything.
Right.
No one even in Japan has been like, "Hey, let's redo
right.
Cowboy Bebop," because
as long as it gets ported to the new formats and whatnot of Blu-ray and stuff like that. But
yeah, I mean that's always gonna happen. But
right.
They've done it with animes. They did it with Evangelion, which is classic. They did it with Sailor Moon, obviously. Even Dragon Ball Z, they with Kai, they did, it's sort of like a director's cut.
Right.
They cut out a lot of the filler episodes and added in more of the violence that they cut out for American audiences, which is weird.
Right. So it was more of a uncut version for the States, because I'm assuming Japan already had those scenes embedded in there. So if anything, that version over there would be probably more of a supercut. Not really
supercut.
Well, I mean, if they're going to be cutting the bullshit filler stuff.
I mean, with Dragon Ball Z, that was always the criticism it got, was like, oh, there's just 10 episodes of them powering up.
Right.
So now knowing that, they're going to be like, okay, let's just get to the point. That's what people want to see.
That's what I mean. It would be more of a supercut over there. But
they did cut out some of the classic, mistranslations and stuff, like over 9,000.
Right. Everything that eventually became a meme. I mean,
the balls are inert.
Oh man, that's classic. That will always be in the ether. That will always be in the internet.
Yeah,
but
it sucks because it was just. It's funny because you watched it as a kid and you didn't think twice of it,
right?
Until someone pointed it out to you. You're like, yeah, that is a funny line that they said.
And then they reshowed it again, and it's not fair. You kind of miss it. You want to see if they're gonna do remaster. You want to see it in all its glory, warts and all. So I'm like, yeah, I'm surprised that there isn't a Cowboy Bebop version. But
that I mean, that's the thing is that Cowboy Bebop, it's only 20 something episodes. That's all it is.
Right.
It's like
It's not
it's
even. It's
one
not.
season. You
Yeah.
get a movie. The movie can go anywhere within the storyline.
Yeah. It's very
Doesn't
very
matter.
vague where it's been placed in the timeline.
But it's
Do you think? Do you think they'll be so bold to be like, oh, we're gonna tell some earlier stuff? Maybe show a couple more of like Jet's earlier days and shit like that. But
maybe because for some reason we're obsessed with origin stories.
yeah, something like that.
That's the thing. Every time they come out with a new superhero, new whatever movie or show, it always has to go back to the origin stories, which is as crappy as the 90s superhero movies were. That's something that they kind of had an advantage of, is they knew they were like, we're marketing it to these people and they already know who Batman is. We don't have to do
Right.
a whole movie on how Batman became Batman 3 times. It's just like, okay, this is.
But they do it anyway.
And even in Batman and Superman, they're like, yeah, we're not gonna do an origin story, but they still
tell
do this
the fucking
weird
origin story. They
dream
still told the origin story.
sequence.
It was still there. I don't give a
Yeah.
fuck what you say. It was still there.
Like everyone knows who Batman is. Like,
It was
even
one of the worst parts of that movie.
Yeah, and it was right in the beginning. It
Fucking
really
Bruce Wayne
it set
flying
itself
with
up.
bats. What is going on? As soon as I saw that moment, I was, you knew you were in for a bad time.
And I wanted that movie to be good, and then that's how they open it up with. They're like, hey, if you wanted this to be good, you should leave now because it's not gonna be. They warned us at least.
Oh my god! You wish there was a little message on the right corner saying like, "Now this is a good time to just go."
And it's weird too because the Superman movie wasn't really offensive because it's hard.
Right.
It's hard to mess up Superman because he's so
Bland.
kind of one-dimensional.
Right.
He
There's
is
no way
super-
to really make him bad. I mean, though, even Superman Returns wasn't as bad. It was all right.
The thing that the Superman movies have always been lacking is some serious Superman villains like Darkseid.
But Darkseid's too big. Like Darkseid needs more.
They're alluding to that now.
Yeah. Well, they're
with the
they're
universe.
Thanos pretty much.
And I hope to God they don't fuck it up somehow. I mean, I've
will,
heard,
though.
I've heard good things about Wonder Woman, still haven't seen it yet.
Right. Well,
So,
yeah, Wonder Woman has been the hit so far out of the.
so I mean, hopefully, Justice League is not like Batman Superman Part 2.
Right.
More like, I don't know, hopefully something on par with some Avengers movies.
Right. Well, hopefully, no, Justice League will not be. I don't think Justice League will ever be as good as Avengers or anything like that. But
I think they kind of they did it weird,
well, of course they did it weird, and now they're paying for it. They're trying to set too much in Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman, and then
Oh man,
that blew up in their
it's
face.
Like, how do you release 2 bombs? You have to
Right.
see these movies while you have to shoot these movies, so you're seeing them being made.
Right.
And who are the people who are like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome. People are gonna love this,
I
While
know.
they're making the movie, they're probably just so like bummed, like,
Well,
I signed on to this
it's a
project.
scenario of too many chefs in the kitchen. Really, there was so many people who wanted to go for that Avengers brass ring, and then
They should.
they didn't let the guy run his or the director or whoever who's running these shows. Okay, I want to say the first 2 were done by 2 dudes, and the only good one was done by a female, which is it shows
Yeah.
the studios that maybe should more people of diversity to maybe try out your characters like the like a Black Panther, stuff like that. But yeah, But how did we get to like DC, like from Cowboy Bebop to DC?
Just shitty things.
Yeah, they just gravitate to each other. You know,
If
fucking
you start talking about shitty things, you're eventually going to talk about the DC Universe movies.
right. Well, I don't think.
They should have just done it like completely backwards the way that Marvel did it.
Right.
Because they're trying to play catch up now, and it's not working for them.
Well, they kind of learned their lesson. They realized if they focus on one hero with Wonder Woman, they will produce a good hit, and that's shown off in the box office and shit like that. So,
well, I mean, if they want to do a Justice League movie, they could have done it a similar way they did the Justice League cartoon,
right,
where they just had Martian Manhunter. He like telepathically called them all together and was like, "Hey, this shit's gonna come down," and it was good. But they could have done something similar to that and just had all the characters there and then branch out, like make the movies after that.
No, I don't know.
Which is what they tried to kind of do with Batman and Superman, but it didn't really go smoothly.
Yeah, it really went poorly. That fucking file. Oh my god!
With all the logos. That's the best part.
That's the worst part.
Someone created all their logos and then put it on this file.
No, it was Wonder Woman. She had the time somehow to put all these images or whatever, or somebody. Yeah, it was poorly executed, in my opinion.
Yeah. And Superman died.
Superman never dies. They're always gonna have that poster child.
Well, of course.
You know, and
that could have been a Superman 2. You know.
Right.
Like the death
him
of
versus
Superman.
him versus Doomsday, which I want to say wasn't that how the original Superman 2 was, or there I'm thinking about.
I don't know. I really don't.
I know. Yeah, they could have done that. They should have done.
And then when Darkseid finally comes,
right.
The return.
Right, he comes back right when the newly formed Justice League, the still green Justice League are trying to like take this dude down, and then Superman comes in and kind of QBs through with some shit.
I'll be interested to see how they incorporate the other Justice League members afterwards, because so they've got Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg,
well,
Batman. That's gonna be
Aquaman. He's getting his own solo film. Wonder Woman, her film is already out. I want to say Flash and Cyborg is in production, and we don't know what's really going on with Batman. You know, Ben Affleck seems to be very
bummed.
Yeah, very bummed. Very. I was gonna say very lackadaisical about being in this universe. Which, I mean, he should take solace in the fact that he was probably like the best part in Batman vs Superman. Like, people were praising his performance in that movie. But yeah, they should have done what Marvel did. They should have slowly explained these heroes, explain who they are, how they fit in this universe they're trying to present. But they didn't do it. They tried to put too many eggs in one basket, and the basket tipped over, and everything just fucking smashed. And now they learned the lesson. Now this gives me hope for Aquaman and the Flash and Batman and stuff. But later down the line, I'm sure they'll probably have little hints during Justice League with other heroes like Martian Manhunter and maybe Swamp Thing, maybe or
Swamp Thing. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Or most likely probably. Green Arrow and Green Lantern.
Swamp Thing's on the same tier as like Daredevil, like
right.
They're the B team,
right? Yeah, they're fit for TV, not really on the silver screen.
I wonder. I just wonder who they're gonna incorporate.
You know what? I'm more confident that they'll probably introduce Green Lantern next, or Yeah, Green Lantern will probably be next.
I'm surprised they didn't do Green Lantern already. Like they went with Cyborg, which is cool because we never seen that
Right.
before. But
Well, I would believe when Justice League starts fighting Darkseid, because the Justice League movie that they're presenting right now, the main bad guy is Darkseid's, I want to say, main general or something like that.
yeah,
He's not the he's what to cut, like he's like the appetizer to the main course. So I'm assuming once the main Darkseid is introduced in the film, I want to say the cosmic help that the Justice League will receive will be from like a Green Lantern or something in that area. I don't know any other cosmic heroes in the DC universe that is as popular as Green Lantern.
You know, there's Hawkman and Hawkgirl. They're from a different planet.
Right. But
Which
do they have the same name recognition as Green Lantern? Green Lantern has a bigger push.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't know who they're gonna incorporate going forward.
Right.
Because Cyborg's a weird choice.
Cyborg,
Although he is a Justice League member.
from what I'm understanding, Cyborg fits into this into the setup where his suit is made out of the same technology of like the same stuff they use to teleport to worlds. I want to say from that planet Apocalypse, they call it the Mother Box or whatever. And Cyborg's suit is somehow integrated with. That's how he's able to just like transform into other things on the fly.
Cannon.
Yeah. So since Darkseid or these villains are from Apocalypse, the planet where Darkseid resides, I'm sure he will have a key role in that. Maybe he'll be like the no pun intended, the quote unquote bridge to that world where the Justice League will go on that battlefield.
Open up a portal or
that'll
something.
be cool. Even though Wonder Woman is a success, I'm still don't have the same confidence that DC could pull something that extravagant.
It's such a tragic thing because unlike Marvel, they have all of their characters. Because they've never needed to sell the rights off.
But the problem is,
they just can't seem to do it.
As I said before, the scuttlebutt always comes after the film's release, but it's always the same thing. Too many chefs in the kitchen, too many hands in the pie. Like, people want these things to be similar to Marvel's movies, so they don't really let the people they choose to direct, put it out in their own vision. Because from what I hear, Batman vs Superman was going to be a little bit more different than what we got. But this is more like everything DC has done up to this point. When I say it's Wonder Woman, has been reactionary to everything that Marvel has done.
Yeah,
which is
unfortunate.
Yeah,
they should just go forward confidently.
Exactly, which now they've seen that work with Wonder Woman. It's like, oh, we're doing our own thing now. Marvel hasn't done this yet, so at least we have this feather in our cap, and this will give them the idea of like maybe we should kind of back off a bit now when people are doing these roles. I don't know. We'll see when the next Justice League is next now when it comes to that their film stuff, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know of anything else that they're.
Yeah, I don't know if anything else is announced. But speaking of the competition, fucking, that Black Panther stuff, man.
Yeah,
really awesome.
I mean,
we can end off the show on this, but
when Black Panther, I feel like is kind of the same thing as with Guardians of the Galaxy for me because I don't know too much about the character.
Right. Well, everything I known of the character is either through the animated shows, some of their animated films because he does show up in some of those, some of the games he shows up in Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, and he has he's I want to say he's kind of prominent. He's like he's kind of set up as like Mr. Fantastic. or something like that, where he's a very, very smart individual. He's one of the smartest Marvel characters in the universe, and he has he's I don't know if he has anything mystical. I want to say he has something mystical.
I mean,
like
I feel like he's probably some kind of similar super soldier serum type thing.
Right.
Because, that I don't know what kind of technology the Black Panther suit has in it. If it's an Iron Man type situation, or if it's more like,
Right.
I don't know. They somehow pass the mystical responsibility on to Black Panther. His father seemed like he was a Black Panther before, and then
Right. We have in Civil War they touched on that, and he has a very interesting lineage and background, and from what I've seen from the teaser they just released, I'm pretty excited to see more, more of this land and to learn more of this character and his origin, if you will. Yeah, I want to say this is probably a long while. Like after the rave reviews of Wonder Woman, now I'm like, oh, I'm pretty excited to see this origin film. But yeah, just on the trailer alone, Black Panther has been pretty pumped to check it out.
I feel like it's that same kind of Guardians of the Galaxy type of appeal where I don't know too much about it, so I have like zero expectations.
Right.
So it can probably only impress me.
Exactly. There hasn't been a bar set yet. There's no way they can. I don't know, kind of like with Wolverine and stuff and other characters of that nature, where in the comics or in the cartoons they're very much portrayed differently.
Yeah.
It always kind of takes a little bit of the winds off the sails where you don't see Wolverine really going let loose, unlike in Logan.
It's
so
unfortunate that we only got one kind of iteration. That's probably all we're gonna get.
But
I don't know if they're gonna make a new Wolverine for new X-Men movies going forward.
I don't know who would be a good Wolverine, but I don't know. This would be a different conversation for another time. But my point is, when it comes to Black Panther, there is nothing like that set.
And I mean,
we don't know much about the character and his lore, and but yeah, seeing that trailer, seeing all those great action scenes, seeing who's the guy who played he's like the Caesar in Planet of the Apes. I'm like on his name.
I don't know his name.
Andy Serkis, I want to say. Is it? I want to say.
You could say Tom, Dick, or Harry. It wouldn't matter. I don't know.
But yeah, that little back and forth between him in the beginning, he sets up the very mystical Wakanda and stuff like that. It's really, really cool.
That's cool because they're like, oh, they were looking for El Dorado in South America. That's cool because with the continental drift theory, like South America and Africa used to be like right next to each other. That's where they fit in.
Right. So yeah, Pangea. Little shout out to history class right there. Yeah, the way they set it up, and then I think it was a very well edited trailer. It kind of was like boom, boom, boom. It gave you little snippets, especially now more and more people are being more like annoyed that trailers are giving too much away, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's always been the thing with trailers.
Right. Well, I mean, I think now people...
Except for maybe in the 70s, where you just had some announcer like, coming this fall.
Yeah, I think
roller skating, and then they get into some trouble. Like, that's every 70s trailer.
Exactly.
Like even for Star Wars, there's some announcer like, "Oh, the Star Wars, the space opera."
And for some reason, it has some funk music playing in the background. Yeah, it makes it like if it's some fucking soap opera, but that's how it was. And yeah, every horror movie trailer was pretty much borderline porn. But yeah, but I feel like I don't know, people being a little too, I don't know, nitpicky or whatever about the trailer stuff. It falls in the same category. People getting annoyed with movie posters. It's you don't have to be worried about that. The stuff that's not the stuff you want to be worried about when it comes to films of characters you really care about. It's more about the lead, the director, the writing staff.
Yeah.
That stuff, you know, that's the stuff you should be worrying about. And I feel like for the most part, they've done a fantastic job with Black Panther.
I mean, that just goes to show you what like day and age we're in, where everybody just picks apart everything they can because they want to make some kind of point to have on the internet forums that they frequent.
Right.
You know,
to,
and
to have that ammo for the Reddit arguments and the gaff wars and whatnot.
Yeah, and it really doesn't matter. You're not, you know, you're not changing anyone's opinion.
Absolutely.
People are. I mean, look at what happened with Ghost in the Shell. Even with all the controversy around it, people still went to see it. People still enjoyed it.
Right.
And people still will like roll their eyes when you say the term whitewashing.
Absolutely. There will always be that crowd within that area. So they will always complain no matter what. But I just feel like it's just so minuscule when it comes to the grand picture of things. You know, when we have some people who will get kind of like, you know, I wouldn't say heartbroken or whatever like that. It's just like, oh, whatever. It just looks like cheesy or whatever. I'm like, oh, who cares? Like you hold that judgment until the final product. In case, you know, Ghost in the Shell or Ghostbusters or anything.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're not doing anything that is like
along those lines,
straight up actually offensive. It's not like there's some kind of like Nazi flag on the Black Panther poster. Like, I don't know why the poster has to be a controversy. Like, all of a sudden, I don't even know where that's coming from. You know, you told me about it yesterday, and I was like, what? What do you mean?
Right. When it came to that,
like, the poster isn't good enough. We're not doing justice to the posters.
When that,
who cares?
Exactly. When that
like that's
kerfuffle came about, it was like what are we doing right now?
Like that's the point you want to make. This is the fight you want to have right now. Like,
dude, don't. There are bigger battles to fight. There are more important hills to die on. Don't worry about the fucking first poster of many. So I'm sure they will get it right, but
and I don't see what's wrong with it. But
yeah, dude, the first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, that looks fine to me. I reposted, but then I saw Twitter and then people were just like ripping through it, and I don't know. I found it really funny, and it really I don't know. I don't want to say petty way. You know what I mean? Like, it was just it's like, yeah, it's silly to complain about the first poster of something.
Yeah.
Or even with the people complaining about the Spider-Man posters, like, who gives a shit? The movie's gonna be awesome. You seen the trailers? That shit looks awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, like, it's finally good to see a good Spider-Man representation.
Right.
Hopefully.
Right. I do not think anyone in the history of ever saw the final film poster and they like, oh, fuck this, I'm never gonna see this ever again. No, it's I don't know, people you know, that people want to complain, you know, so that's
yeah, everyone fucking, I don't know, I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's
everything's controversial now. Everything.
Yeah.
Which is like,
right.
It's good to make progress for, you know, the people who need it, but at the same time,
right.
At what point are you like hurting the cause rather than helping?
Where yeah, exactly. You're doing more damage than good at this point. If you believe
that line doesn't exist, then you're probably an idiot.
Exactly. More often than not, people do just recreate these, you know, non-existing lines, and it's just like, dude, don't even, why even bother? Just be happy that you know, the important thing, like, you know, in Black Panther's case, the film is going to be good. The film is being treated with care and respect, The film is not going to be,
and it's going to be like celebrated. It's not going to be like some black exploitation.
Exactly.
Film. Whereas if it came out in the '90s or the '80s,
right? Oh
or
God,
whenever,
it could have been much worse.
That's probably
so
what it would have been.
Yeah, and I think they did a really good job with Luke Cage, and so I have no reason to not be confident in Black Panther. And if anything, it makes me really confident to see what they do with Captain Marvel and any other more diverse hero they want to like bring into TV or like the civil screen.
It's interesting what they've done with Captain Marvel, because I mean, in the '90s, the only thing I even knew about Captain Marvel was she was Miss Marvel back then, and that's how Rogue got her powers.
Right, she was always a victim. Like when she was introduced in that episode, she was victim, and then she became the villain. I want to say.
Yeah, she was like, it was some kind of revenge
plot. She was trying
to
get like control Rogue's body. I think I think that was it.
Yeah, and, like her personality was taking over or something.
Yeah,
but it was weird. I forget exactly what happened, but like she was kind of bad. Like they were trying to.
She wasn't bad. She was jaded. She was angry because Rogue. She thinks Rogue stole her life.
Well, I mean, the
Rogue
whole
held on too long.
Rogue put her in a coma was because
she held on to it too long.
But like she was trying to do that because of
Mystique. I want to say right. She was.
Yeah, I don't know. There was some Mystique was there.
I don't know. We could watch it again. I'm sure we could solve our own questions on this point. But yeah. To end it off on this. But yeah, I think Black Panther is gonna be good. I don't think people have to worry about the trailers or unless you see suspicious shit in there, which I'm very happy they got the dude who did Creed and blanking some other films, but he definitely knows how to portray in a respectful manner of these kind of like quote unquote like for black problems, of people of African descent trying to live in the world today and
right
and he's really done. I'm blanking on his name, but the director, he's done really good work when it comes to that type of stuff. So I think he's gonna do a great job when it comes to this film. I think the film is gonna probably be more grounded than we suspect. I think it's gonna touch on some real world subjects that are dealing with we're dealing with today. So
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm just really excited to see it, and yeah, whatever. I don't give a shit about a cheesy poster.
I'm glad it's coming out now.
Right.
Because
instead of in the '90s,
because we won't have a bad taste in our
because it would have been full of like neon, because that was probably the thing. All I remember is all those fucking god awful Batman films.
I mean,
because Marvel didn't do anything.
I feel like they did a crappy Spider-Man?
Well, I'm sorry, they did do Blade. That was awesome. Blade was awesome.
And no one gives Blade the credit it deserves.
Yeah,
because that was that was the first superhero movie,
the first Marvel superhero, first black superhero.
Yeah,
so
they
two firsts right
they
there.
They snuck it in right under the radar. No one knew.
Yep. God, man, fuck Blade. Blade was so awesome, dude.
Because people, when you talk about like the beginning of the modern superhero movie era,
right?
People would think about Spider-Man.
Yeah,
because that's the first one they really did.
Right, and that came out in 2001, 2000. I want to say around that time period. But
back when like Hoobastank was still on the radio.
Yeah, Hoobastank, fucking Sum 41, SR something.
Who was on that soundtrack? It was like a Nickelback /
It was Chad Kroeger from Nickelback and the lead singer from Saliva, dude. Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
What an era for music to
This is another conversation we could get into about like the weird new metal era. Like that's what I call it. It's just, even though like a lot of that shit isn't new metal, but that's what I call that era of like weird,
like
early
butt rock. the college radio butt rock.
Yeah. Before it kind of morphed into emo and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, but Black Panther is gonna be cool. So,
Yeah,
And-
I think on that note,
well, I was about to say Black Panther's gonna be cool, and hopefully Cowboy Bebop be all right. Hopefully,
I'm just so
maybe.
my Jerry's final thoughts on this episode. I just stop making anime because the biggest thing to me about Ghost in the Shell
Right.
is, I'm privileged enough to say that the whitewashing didn't really bother me as far as the story goes.
Right.
However, it's the like Eastern sort of things that they put into anime, like
Right.
it's a lot of existentialism and like, where are we? What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And they just kind of like removed all that, and they're like, oh, it's an action movie, which doesn't. It's like completely missing the point.
Yeah.
Like, why make an anime movie, especially a Ghost in the Shell movie, where it's like you're not even gonna acknowledge like, what
Well-
it's truly about, which
Well-
I feel is what these anime movies have like lacked the entire time.
As the statement said, they were trying to pay homage to the source material. They weren't trying to do an exact copy because the film is already out there for you.
Oh my god. Yeah, because here's the thing, in Ghost in the Shell, the 1995 movie,
Mm-hmm.
at the end, basically the major, goes into the internet and like is now she can be anyone.
Right. She's all knowing. She's sort of pretty much
She merges with an AI.
yeah.
And then
She's-
and that was the whole like thing is like, oh well, if I merge with you, will I still be me? And the point was like, no, you won't. You'll be something different, but that's the point.
Right. You're trying to be something different. You're not trying to be the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The Ghost in the Shell was
And
was
then
a real.
in the live action movie, they kind of
They totally just sandbag it, in my opinion.
yeah. Well, they like at the end they were as the puppet master esque type character
Yeah.
that they were
It seemed like it had potential, but
but well, he made like a cloud,
Right.
basically, essentially, for his consciousness that he was gonna upload himself to. And at the end of the movie, he's like, "Come with me," and she's like, "Nope."
yeah.
Which is, it's like you could have redeemed yourself on that like one note, but you didn't.
No, they went to just like the typical good Hollywood action ending. No, she goes back to her crew and she just lives off the life, not questioning anything she just experienced.
But
yeah.
that's why I don't want anyone to make anime adaptations.
Yeah.
Because unless you're gonna get the Eastern, mentality and like life lessons in there, don't bother doing it,
Right.
because you're just gonna create a shitty movie.
Yeah, it would just be more of a husk at that point, just poor imitation.
It's like a really nice cosplay,
Yeah,
but
but then
but then you realize like, why, I just spent 3 hours watching this masquerade. Why am I even at this convention? I'm 28 years old. I feel like I should get a real job.
yeah, like I could have watched this on YouTube at my real job. Like